a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today we are discussing the finale of the Holidazed series, airing exclusively on Hallmark Plus, episode 8. If you listened to our recap of episode 7, you know we changed up the style of our recaps a little bit. So we are not doing a scene-by-scene recap, but we're just going to dive in and talk about everyone's resolution. Because this episode was pure chaos.
Lots of people, lots of scenes. I mean, shout out to director Stacey Harding she did the first episode as well. Mm-hmm. I think 1 and 2 and this episode. So, that's a lot of moving pieces.
Hugely ambitious project.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm curious what your overall thoughts on this series was.
So overall, I did enjoy it. There was a lot going on. I think when I think about this series, I like that it was a huge swing. It was a lot of stories, a lot to bring back together. And when I think of it as a whole, episode 1 to episode 8 and the way it's tied all together, I think it's really interesting storytelling. Mm-hmm. There were some weak moments for me. There were some moments that didn't land for me. There were some frustrating pieces to me, but overall, I liked this series. I know you have some different thoughts.
No, not wildly different. I agree with you. I like how it all comes back together. I do agree that there were some weaker storylines, and I do think that they could have cut some of the families, maybe just one of them. I'm not going to say who, but I like the big swing as well. Like, I don't know. It's like highs and lows for me on this. What I really enjoyed is that Hallmark took on a project that wasn't like a picture perfect project. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a picture perfect Christmas. Like they were like
real issues
showing families that are dealing with real stuff. Not everybody is like, celebrating a joyful season or whatever. There's like a lot of SHIT happening alongside it being the holiday season.
Yeah, everyone was going through it on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of enjoyed all that. I don't know. And then I was thinking, like, would they tackle this again with a different neighborhood? Because when I was on IMDb, it shows like season 1. And I was like, oh, would they do this again? Like a season 2, different neighborhood, different stories?
Yeah, maybe. Are there that many stories that can be told? I don't know. I wonder as a casual viewer, because I watched this taking notes on every episode. And even I found myself, like when Ian Harding comes back in episode 8, I'm like, oh, Josh, almost forgot about you. Mm-hmm. So I wonder as the casual viewer, was it hard to keep track of everybody? It's not complicated storytelling. You can figure it out. But
yeah. Okay, so how do you want to do this? You want to talk through each family?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
What's interesting is Josh's parents aren't here, are they?
Yep. Nope. We don't see them at all in this episode.
So you want to talk about Josh and Stacy and Sheriff Nora?
Sure.
And Theo? The episode does open up early on with him showing up at Sheriff Nora's house with the coffee.
Real early on Christmas morning.
Yeah, like Theo's not even awake, so it must be very early because children bounce out of beds with the sun to see what Santa has brought them. And she is still assembling his bike, which is a choice on Christmas morning to be still working on it.
Yeah, totally.
It's like a late night holiday. But there was no power, so maybe she needed to wait until there was some light.
Tell me, how does Josh slip out of bed with girlfriend Stacy? Is that her name?
Yeah. I almost wondered if like she was gone and we were going to find that out, but not enough time has passed for her to be gone.
No, and we see a whole thing with them later in the episode.
She comes back into the episode.
So he's just mysteriously gone for several hours on Christmas morning,
helping another woman assemble a bike for her son. I mean, Stacy, well, let's get to it. I have some feelings about that, right? Because he clearly hasn't broken up with Stacy. Like, she's still here.
Mm-hmm.
Nora says, I thought you were going to Australia. And he's like, our flight was canceled because of the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh. He does say, I'm glad I get to spend this more time with you. But he's still with Stacy. And he's like, seems to be like trying to get Sheriff Nora to admit like there's something here. And she's like,
You know, I was like, pound sand, dude, you're still with Stacy.
yeah, I gotta protect my kid.
Yeah.
You're not saying I'm staying here with you. You're not saying it. She's like, all the same things are happening. It's just like high school. And she's like, you can't be here. It's too confusing for Theo. Did you see that moment though? They keep their scarves on in the house because there's no heat.
Mm-hmm.
And when Josh leaves, his scarf is tucked into his jacket the entire time. And when he leaves and he glances back in through the window and he sees Nora and Theo sharing their like, good morning, Christmas hug, his scarf has escaped from his jacket all of a sudden.
Oh, it's out.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
We do later on see Josh and Stacy show up to the Minetti
spoiler.
Hanahan party.
Yeah, at the minute. I can't even say their stupid name.
Yeah, the Minetti Hanahans save the day with their battery backup because they're the only ones in the neighborhood with power. So this is going to be the source of the neighborhood gathering.
Yeah, they invite everybody over.
And so Josh and Nora do run into each other there. Josh and Stacy arrive together, and I was like, "Get out, Stacy! Like, not being contractor. I like you, but please go home."
Yeah.
Like-
Well, and Josh too, step the F up and be like, this is not happening here. But maybe because it's Christmas Day, like he doesn't want to be like, see ya.
But also, it's Christmas Day, and he went over to Nora's house.
I know.
How did they break up?
They break up because Theo draws a picture for Josh. And in this picture is depicted like the perfect life or something like that. And Stacy confronts Josh and she's like, this is not my perfect life, but this looks like your perfect life.
Yeah.
And so peace. I'm out.
Two things to say about that. One, when Theo shows Josh the picture and she's like, Stacy, this is you. She goes, neat. I was like, Stacy
She
sucks.
hates kids. She hates kids.
But the other thing about that is she's like, when they break up, she goes, well, we're still great business partners. So I'll message you about that project. Like, she's all business. That's all she cares
All
about.
business.
So she's like, have a great life. We'll be in
Bye.
touch.
It was kind of, I was glad that she wasn't like all heartbroken about it. Like she just was like, look, you and I don't want the same things and I'm going to go pursue what I want to do. And you can stay here and have your small town life.
Let's talk the Woods family because it's a quick short story. Lucy and Annie and Sylvie.
Yeah.
Lucy and Annie, they go look for Aunt Sylvie. It's kind of wild to me that like all this stuff was put on pause, but I guess it was storming out. They're not going to like go out in the big storm. And they don't have to look very far because they find Aunt Sylvie at the bakery. She slept in a booth
Shocking.
all night long. And she was like, I was embarrassed. And Lucy says, I'm proud of you. And then the jukebox turns on.
Yeah.
The magical jukebox.
This is the storyline I feel that could have been cut. It doesn't make it doesn't add to the overall narrative to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't like the Annie Max storyline.
Oh, you don't?
No, I hate kids. So I don't hate kids, but it just was silly to me. I just didn't care about Sylvie and the sister. I can't even tell you what the sister's name is. Annie? No, that's the daughter. What's her name?
Sylvie.
The sister.
Lucy.
Lucy. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. That's the line that
Sylvie
could've
is
been-
the curly-haired sister.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So, and then what's with the magical jukebox? They're like, Joy's here. Mom's here.
Yeah, I do feel like the thing that made all of this storytelling possible was we just had to like let some things be untold and unsaid, which led to confusion. Like, I think the Joy storyline is one of those where I was like, there's so much more information there that we don't have. And I get that that's how it works in like a big giant ensemble like this, but but I was like, why do they call her Joy? And what is going on?
Yeah, there were like limitations in their storytelling there. Maybe because it's 45 minutes and they couldn't get everything in. But
Sure.
like take the Cole factor out then.
Yeah.
Give
Not
us
everybody needed a romance.
more. Yeah. Cole comes to the house at the party.
Yeah, Sylvie invited Cole to the party and they like decide, like Lucy asks Cole on a date.
Yeah.
The end. the end.
That's over.
Annie and Max also do resolve their storyline. Like Annie goes to talk to Max and she's like, I'm really sorry. And he's like, I like you too. Smooch. Let's play video games.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Luon family and we have a repeat of an earlier scene, but this time with the ladies. In the original Luon episode, Robert and Evan run into each other in the morning in the hallway with like the
Yeah.
wow, wow, wow.
Western.
Yeah. This time we have Gail and Linda running into each other in the hallway, but it is quickly revealed that Gail and Robert did not sleep in the same bed.
It
Robert-
was?
Yes. Gail says Robert slept on the couch like a gentleman.
Oh, I missed that part. I did think it was, I was like, whoa, she spent the night? I thought, and on Christmas Eve as well. Yeah. I totally missed that Robert slept on the couch because I was like, whoa, this is a sharp left turn here, Hallmark.
Yes.
It's obvious Linda wants to be back with Robert.
Very clear. At the party, there's some awkwardness. Like Robert and Linda are reminiscing, and Evan kind of like scooches in between them and realizes what's going on. And this is when Evan breaks up with Linda, really in the nicest way possible.
Yeah, he sees that there is a connection between Robert. It was really nice.
Yeah, he's like, it's very obvious you two belong together. And he leaves.
He's like, now I'm going to go get Gail. I'm just kidding.
I did think it was kind of sad. I was like, where's Evan going to go for Christmas?
Back home.
I guess.
Back home.
There's not really any resolution as I recall it with like Jennifer and Mike. Are they even at the party?
I don't think so. I do not think they were even there.
Maybe
they're hanging out with Josh's parents.
Maybe.
Yeah, we don't get any resolution. We no a final closure with like Mike's like job situation and
The fact that they're
Jennifer's
growing apart.
Yeah, nothing.
Maybe that's intentional. Maybe it's like even when there's resolution, it's not always perfect.
Yeah.
Like we can't solve every problem in 45 minutes. Who's next?
Katie and Gabby.
Okay.
So the Camarinas show up after some resistance.
Yeah, Connie makes Chuck go invite them personally.
Yeah, Manny's like, hell no, we're not going over there.
They like meet at the fence line and they offer a Christmas truce like they're friggin' at war.
It was nice. I was like, that's good. Go over, swallow your pride, have some family cheer.
Yeah, so Katie goes to Gabby and she asks about Kevin. And again, I've said this 100 times. The tone of the Katie storyline is different here because Gabby's like, Kevin's going to come around just like I did. Like Gabby is still in like Katie forgiveness land.
Yeah.
And Katie's like, I got some advice for your audition video. And I actually think it's great advice. And I think
it was great advice too.
I think it comes together really well. She was like, you need to show what the holidays are really like. Like what they want to see is, are you dynamic on camera? They don't really care about the recipe that you're making. So
we've watched enough Food Network TV to know that.
Yeah, are you interesting to watch?
Yeah.
And so they end up filming this like walk and talk of her talking about,
which is so ridiculous because you guys, if you've ever tried to like record something with your phone and there's 800 people around
crashing into them,
loud, forget it. Forget it. But I do love Gabby's like video pitch.
Yeah.
And Katie helps her make it. So
and
it was great.
I actually think it's very beautiful.
And then, of course, Kevin swoops in.
This is a really sweet moment because Katie's like, we're going to have to come up with a new nickname for you. And from the behind, you hear Kevin say, sister.
Yeah, that was nice too.
Kevin returns the ring. And I thought it was really cute. He was like, should I propose again? And she's like, the answer's still the same. She's not giving me. Maybe it's just character growth.
Crazy Katie.
Yeah,
in 2 days. Sure.
I don't know. I'm just telling you, I think the vibe is different. And maybe it's direction.
Oh, interesting. Hot take there.
Quick take. I want to talk about Josh's parents. He has a moment where he references them. He's like inspired by
he wants to build them a master suite at their current location.
Theo's forever home. He's like, I don't need to move them out. I just need to make their current home livable forever. So we'll build them a downstairs primary bedroom. That's what prompts Stacy's breakup. So his parents get a little tiny bit of
acknowledgement.
Yes.
Mike and Jennifer, sorry. Nothing.
The big storyline here is the Lynn family.
I gotta tell you, I was really frustrated watching this.
Yeah, so we know from the end of the Lynn episode that Grandma saw Marcus and Ted kissing, and she had like that shocked look on her face. But they come into the party, and she's like, you got to get married today. Like, I'm not feeling well. I could die tomorrow.
She's pushing for Ella and Marcus to get married.
Yes.
And Wally is an ordained minister, so he's going to do it right there in front of everybody on Christmas Day with no marriage license.
And I'm like, in my notes, I'm like, Nine must be actually punking them this time. We do have another revisit of a closet scene, and they got no solutions. They're like, what are we going to do? What are we
Sheer
going to
panic.
do?
Let's not worry about the truth. Let's figure out how we're going to get out of this. Yeah.
There's a quick aside where Grandma realizes that Connie's waiting on some test results, and she calls in a favor.
Because Grandma's a boss biatch who's got somebody on the line.
She's like, I got deep pockets, baby. But Ted's like, look, enough of this. I'm going to tell Grandma. I'm going to tell her. And Nine like, I know, dear, you broke my heart by lying to me. This is a moment that is unclear to me. At what point did she know? Did she know all along and she was punking them with all the crazy wedding prep that she made them go through? Or because then what explains her like shocked face through
When
the
she sees
window?
them kiss. Yeah.
Yeah. Or did she just know since the night before? But I kind of feel like this is mean. Like, you broke my heart.
This really pisses me off because I feel like she forced him to be out.
Yeah.
She really put him in a terrible position.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to pull all these hijinks to get you to give me information that you weren't ready to give me.
Yes. I hated everything about this. It made me mad, actually.
Well, Marcus apologizes to her, but he also like is kind of like,
Yeah, he just throws some therapist talk on her.
he's like, you need to understand that like you played a part in this too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to mention, like when Linda and Robert get together, my notes.
Bow, chicka, wow.
Did you hear
wow
it?
Music, yes, I
Okay,
did.
first of all, my notes say Allstate Robert sends Evan off because something about him standing.
He says, drive safe. Isn't that what he says in the Allstate
He's
commercials?
standing in the driveway, and the guy's like getting in a car driving away. I'm like, this has got to be intentional.
Absolutely.
Because in that moment, I was like, oh, this is an Allstate commercial. But Linda and Robert, there's a scene, and I'm telling you, the music goes bounce, chicka, wow, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you see them, like, you see clothes flying,
Mm-hmm.
but what they're actually looking for is the gift that Robert got for her. It's like a nice, like, give me some hints that stuff's happening. Nothing's happening, but I appreciated it. His gift to her is a trip to the Northern Lights. It's their second honeymoon.
When did he have time to buy that?
I don't know. Maybe there's an eighth family on the street who happens to be a travel agent.
In the time that Evan leaves, because Robert's not going to buy his ex-wife a trip to go see the Northern Lights unless he was buying it for Evan and Linda.
Yeah,
to
that is
take
weird.
Together.
That is weird.
I don't know. It was a nice conclusion, though. I'm happy to see Robert and Linda back together.
In the midst of all of this, Dasher the llama is gone.
Don't care.
He has escaped all the way to the Camarina's house. Now that Nine knows, Ted and Marcus are like, let's get married. What are we waiting for? Everyone's here. Even all these neighbors that we don't really care that much about.
Yeah,
but
nobody cares about each other. They all hate each other, but like because of circumstance, nobody has power. They're all hanging out with each other.
yeah, so instead of just eating a bunch of appetizers, they're like, let's plan an entire wedding. Let's decorate this whole tent and have everybody. I'd be like, I don't want to do this. It's Christmas Day. Could we just like lounge around and eat a
Totally.
cheese ball?
I mean, like, where are they getting all this decor
Beautiful
from?
lanterns and so many matching chairs.
Big like bouquets. Yeah, they had like what you would see at a wedding, like the table of 8 chairs.
I
that
know.
you
I was
would
like,
sit
where did all
at.
these flowers come from?
Yeah, I mean, I just was like, and again, no marriage license
No marriage license.
and no family of Marcus there.
No.
It is.
I know, I hear you. We talked about in the Camarina episode how they like flash on the sign of like no tree cutting, right? Well, this is where that moment comes full circle because Sheriff Nora shows up and she's like, someone cut a tree down. Of course, it could only be one of these families. Of all the people in this entire city, it's got to be one of them. And Josh is like, it's me. Wally performs a wedding ceremony. He talks about holiday traditions. We bring it full circle. He talks about even the unplanned moments can be lovely. Someone had a confetti cannon.
Chuck.
And we get a kiss. The end. There's flashes of all the many connections made.
These people are just going to go back to not talking to each other.
And a giant neighborhood photo.
Oh, we did not talk. Connie got her results and it was nothing.
Yeah, I kind of was annoyed. Like, I don't want Connie to be sick, but I was like, you don't tell your entire family I might not live to see next year when you have no information.
That's a real roller coaster.
You could be like,
they're like, Mom's healthy. No, it's no big deal. Everybody cheers.
I just think it's perfectly reasonable to be like, I'm waiting on some test results and I'm stressed about it.
Yeah.
But I might not be here next year.
I know. It's high drama. Not necessary.
Hey, friends, thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. This wraps up our Holidazed marathon. We're hoping you are having a very happy new year. We will be back tomorrow with our top 5 holiday movies from the Hallmark juggernaut that was 2024. Come back for that. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.